Meet Brandon Shepard, a breakout creator whose recent videos have been racking up millions of views each. But less than a year ago, he couldn't even crack a tiny fraction of that.
I just got to the point to where I thought, maybe this YouTube thing isn't really worth it.
You see, Brandon struggled to stand out in a niche full of competition. Then he made one small shift and blew up fast. In this video, he reveals exactly how it happened. How did you become such a successful YouTuber?
So I never actually saw myself as being much of a YouTuber, mainly because I didn't feel like I had the personality for it. Because most people you see have very high energy, boisterous personality, and that was never me. But I guess I got into creative work back when I was in middle school, actually. Me and my brother came across the idea that we could make video games. So we started doing that for a few years, and it was super fun because I learned all sorts of cool skills with that. You learn how to illustrate, make game art, you learn how to program, you learn how to work with audio and music. So you got a very rich multimedia skill set we built up over a few years. And then I graduated high school and went to college for computer engineering, actually. Nothing to do with the design at all, because my goal was still to graduate and start a video game studio. And so when I did graduate, me and my brother set out on that dream, and that failed absolutely miserably. And we just found ourselves kind of broke with no real way to make money, I suppose. And so we started to look at ways that we could do that online. And I came across the idea of freelancing, doing work for clients online and getting paid for it. That seemed pretty good. We ventured out on that. I think my first job I did was for $10. So, that was a big win. And then within a year, I was charging maybe like $100 an hour for clients. And so things grew really, really quickly. And I did that for about 6 years, I would say. And I just kind of got tired of client runaround. I would make a really cool design. I would show it to them, and then they would just ruin it with tons and tons of revisions. And that kind of makes you sad as a creative person. You'd like to see your vision be fulfilled. And so I was trying to just figure out a way to get past that and be able to make, what I wanted to make, and to where the end result wasn't touched by 20 different people before it went out into the world. So that's kind of how I came across just the idea of doing YouTube in general. I knew it would be pretty tough to do that, but I was like, what the heck, might as well try it. I knew I had a background in design, and so I knew I wanted to make design videos. So I did a little bit of research and just tried to figure out what wasn't covered in the design space so far. And I was pretty lucky because what I found was that most design videos were entirely like educational based. It was all how to do this in Photoshop in 15 steps, and just very tutorial minded videos. There wasn't really any entertainment value, and there wasn't really even a whole lot of people that would show themselves designing on screen. It was all just more theory type of stuff. And so I just wanted to make some videos that were fast paced, that could keep people engaged, that covered things that weren't already covered in the space. So I came up with a series called 5-Minute Designs. And I did that because I knew when I started out, I didn't want to make videos that were super, super hard to make because I would just quit. It was really good because I could literally just sit down in an hour, think about a design, turn on the cameras, film it for 2 or 3 hours, and then edit it and ship it out the next day. And so that was like my first little video series, which kind of got things started. I just kind of took off from there.
It seems it took a few years from when you started to really find your groove. How did you overcome those struggles?
I knew starting the channel would be difficult, but I didn't realize how little help I was going to get from the algorithm in the beginning, because I was getting basically 0 recommendations from YouTube. Like, people just weren't coming to my videos from finding them on the recommendation page. So what I would literally have to do is go out and post my video links on places like Reddit or Facebook and try to beg people to come and watch the videos. And the people that did come and watch them, they liked them, but it's very hard when you have like 5 subscribers to get anybody to care about what you're doing at all. Even if it's the same content that I would release now with many more subscribers. There's something about that low subscriber number that people just don't really give you a chance. Starting off, I think is certainly the hardest part. And it was honestly like that for probably the first 6 months that I made content. Like, the only time that I would ever get any new subscribers was if I posted on other places. Like, my current subscribers would watch my videos pretty, regularly, but I would just get no growth otherwise. It took me probably a year, I'd say, to get up to maybe 15,000 subscribers. And then honestly, I just got kind of frustrated because I was making what I considered to be good content. And people would flood the comments with like, man, this guy's so underrated and he deserves so many more subs. And I'm like, yeah, that would be nice, but that just wasn't happening. And so I just got to the point to where I thought, maybe this YouTube thing isn't really worth it. And so I just stopped making videos for probably like a whole year. And I just went back to client work and worked on some other projects on the side. And I was still gaining some subscribers, every day, maybe like 30 or 40 subs a day, even though I wasn't making any videos. It was strange too, because I would gain roughly that many subscribers per day when I was making videos. And so to me, it didn't seem like if I posted anything, it would actually help or not. But I got to the point where I was like, maybe I should try to get this another chance. You know, by that point I had, I think, 30,000 subscribers. And so I made my first video coming back. It did decently well. But the second video I made coming back was a package design challenge video where I designed potato chip bags in 30 minutes and like an hour and then 5 hours or something like that. And that video got 1 million views in like a couple weeks. So it just kind of exploded and doubled my channel subscribers in about a month. So that was the thing that I think I needed to really just give YouTube a full go at it.
Wow. So then how did you come up with those early viral video ideas?
I'd say back in the early days, my entire idea philosophy was I just want to make a good design that people can enjoy. Like that was it. There was nothing really beyond that. After that chip video though, I just had to take a step back and be like, why did that video do so well when none of the other videos did, even though that video I don't think had some of my strongest design work. And what I realized is that I just needed to start approaching things in a way that it reached a more general audience than just designers, because I was very surprised at the amount of comments I got from people that weren't designers at all, but they just really enjoyed that video. And so my philosophy shifted to how can I make really good designs, but also bring in general purpose things that a wide audience can enjoy. So that's why these days I do a lot more of like redesigning famous brands, you know, stuff that people have bought at the stores and have in their homes, like Pringles or Cheetos or Dawn soap, you know, those types of things. And people seem to really enjoy it. It's cool because it gives people that aren't designers a look into this world as well. As far as the realistic video, that was kind of funny because I was actually working on a completely different concept at the time. But the concept had me in a place where I was going to need to make like a realistic painted version of the Starbucks logo. And then I was thinking, you know, I watched this guy on YouTube called Fat Dino. Great YouTuber. He makes videos where he redesigns like simple video games, but with AAA graphics, so they look like super good. And I was like, you know, what if I did that same thing but with logos? And I looked around and did a little research to see if anybody else had done something similar. And there was a couple of YouTubers that they had done similar things, but not exactly in that same way. Like one guy did realistic logos, but in like 3D software. Another guy did them, but it's kind of like a joke and a meme type of thing. They weren't meant to look good, really. It was just supposed to be a funny video. I didn't really see anybody that just tried to make really good looking realistic logos. So I was like, well, I'll give that a shot. So I picked out some logos that I thought people would know, like the Starbucks logo, Jurassic Park, and Tesla, and did that video, and it performed poorly at first. It got 150,000 views, which, you know, is still fine because at that point, I think I only had 100,000 subscribers. So like I was blown away by that. Anytime I can get views more than my subs, you know, I'm happy about that. But I thought that, you know, it deserved more than that. At least it had a chance to get more than that. I looked around just at other people's thumbnails and titles that had done similar things. I found that people seemed to just really like the idea of having an object here and an object here and an arrow pointing to them to show like a before and after. And so I replaced the thumbnail, which was actually quite complicated in the original one, with a more simple thumbnail, and I changed the title from the original title mentioned like famous logos but RTX is on, because that's the same titles that Fat Dino used, and I thought, hey, you know, if it works for him, maybe it'll work for me. But it turns out that people in the design space don't really know what RTX is like people in the game space, so a lot of people were confused by that. I made famous logos ultra realistic, and that shot from 150,000 views to 4 million views in about a week. So it was just like crazy explosion for that. It was at that point I started to realize how important the title game, the thumbnail game really was to success on the videos. Like it didn't really matter what the video was inside, it was the packaging that was equally, if not more important.
It's clear you're building this amazing business online, but why did you choose YouTube as the place to invest in?
Client work is amazing because at a certain point you get really reliable income and revenue. But you know, eventually I don't want to work my entire life as a designer, just designing for clients, slaving away for other people, for their dreams. You know, I want to build something that I own. And so I figured to be able to promote any products I make or anything that I want to do in the future, I need some type of audience to do that. Because, you know, having an audience is just having a certain level of power that gives you reach, you know, and influence and marketing ability, really. And, you know, you also build that community, which is great as well. And YouTube is just, you know, the perfect place for that. It's like the most widely used video site in the world. It's got great discoverability if you can actually get into the algorithm and once you grow a little bit. I do want to be careful not to make YouTube my only stream of income or my only audience growth tool. So I'm reaching out into other places like Twitter and Instagram, trying to do some more short form content just to branch out so that you don't have too many eggs in one basket. But I mean, YouTube is great. I think it's going to be the engine that drives, I guess, my revenue streams and my growth for a long time, hopefully.
And how did you improve your videos over time?
So I had two main goals after I really started in the beginning. I wanted to try to make things as efficient as possible so I could do videos much more easily. And I wanted to try to figure out a way to design less per video, but get the same amount of views and interest on them. And on both accounts, I failed absolutely horribly. That never happened. Things have only gotten more complex. Like for instance, in the very beginning, I would make like a single design, like a peanut bar, right? And then I would do a couple variations of it. So really it was only one design and then just a few tweaks, and that wasn't so bad. But I was like, what if I just did one design per video and just got rid of the variations? Like that would be even easier. And I tried that for a little bit and actually moved away entirely from showing me in the corner and showing the Photoshop work on the screen to just doing fully animated videos. And that was easier because I didn't have to record things live, for instance, but I spent a lot more time in the editing booth doing animations and writing scripts and stuff like that. And people just didn't seem to enjoy it as much. Like I really liked the videos, the way they turned out, but I took the hint that people liked the videos where I was, in Photoshop and stuff and doing things live. So I went back to that. Over time, I've added a lot more editing tricks. I do a lot of animations these days to try to supplement when I'm talking. I do a lot of zoom ins to focus on specific actions that I'm taking, and just really trying to keep things fast paced and entertaining, and just take people along for an interesting ride, especially those people that aren't, designers themselves, but they want to follow the process. So I try to keep things simple, but still throw in a few little nuggets of wisdom for the people that do care about the design education.
So then how will you grow from here?
Yeah, man, I'm just gonna keep making videos. Like I said, I'm gonna expand hopefully into more short form content on like Instagram, maybe some TikTok. I've built a pretty good community in Discord. I recommend everybody to check it out. It's mainly for creative people, but even if you're not a designer, you can come in there. We've built a bunch of custom games, and there's challenges all the time, and we're building a really nice little community of creative people in there. So I'll be continuing to work on that. I've got some courses coming out later this year that I think are going to be amazing. I don't think there's going to be any courses over design like them on the internet. So looking forward to that. Come over to the YouTube channel, check it out. Even if you're not a designer, I think you'll like it, and just always happy to make new friends online.
If you feel like your channel is slowly dying, watch this video where I give my thoughts on how to keep viewers invested for the long term. All right, huge thanks to Brandon for the chat, and definitely check out his channel if you haven't already. Thanks, see ya.